Hi guys, welcome back. Today's video is going to be the review on the Kat Von D Lolita palette, and I did do a first impression try on video with this, and I created a look there, and I also created a few more looks after that so that way I could try it out and give you this very detailed review. I'm also going to be comparing it to some palettes that you guys had some questions on, so in case you have some of those, this one might not be one that you want. This is the outside. It has a very pretty font to it, and then it does have the names in the back. Once you open it, you will see that there is a theme to it. It is mainly the colors around the Lolita shade. That is what the palette is inspired by, which is the actual lipstick that Kat Von D came out with. And then the other shades are just like a little lighter, a little deeper than that one. And it does have 8 shades, and they're all completely matte, so you don't get any shimmers in this palette. And like I said, I did already try the palette out many times, and the reason why I was able to try it so much is because each time I had the intent of making this video, especially before I left. I wanted to get this video up, but it had so many details in it that I wanted to get to that I just ended up filming the looks for it. Some of them I filmed them, some of them I just took pictures of, but this one is the first one that I did, which was the one that I filmed on camera and showed you guys the first impression. That look was not my favorite look. I don't know, it just ended up being really dark. I didn't want it to be that dark, but that is how it ended up. These are super intense, and they are easily buildable. So you will get the shade that you see here, and sometimes they even look a little darker, like this one right here, which is called Con Amor. That one gets a little bit darker as the more you apply, the darker that it gets. And honestly, I don't feel like I can create that many. Not only is this just an all matte palette, which makes it a little bit more difficult because of course matte palettes are great, you know, you always want those matte shades and you don't always want some shimmer, but sometimes when they all have like the same undertone to it, or they're all in like the same color family, it's really hard to make it look different, like very different, unless you use a very deep tone and a very light tone. If you use anything in between, all the colors or all the looks, once you're done, they kind of look the same. Now, as far as the formula, it is really creamy. It's easy to build up. You can see the swatches right here, and you can see that they're so even and nice, like not patchy. They just look really good on the swatches and also on the eyes. But I do want to tell you that sometimes whenever you apply it without setting your base, and even if you do set your base with like translucent powder, it will be a little bit hard to blend out the dark shades. I did notice that with Corazon and also with the darkest one right here, what's it called? Eterno. So those shades, whenever you try to blend them out, if you're not using like a very light hand, I was gonna get a brush, but if you're not using a very light hand, you will pack on a lot, and then it's gonna be hard for you to blend it out. It's just, they're so creamy that they kind of are hard to blend out at the same time. So it's like a good thing that they're creamy and buildable, so it's like not forgivable, especially with the dark shades. All the shades down here I feel look a little faded on my eyes. I don't know if it's just because it's my skin tone, but to me it's not that the color's not there, it's just that it looks a little bit maybe washed out. Maybe it's just like because they're cool tones, but they just kind of look a little faded, and like I want some more color. So that's the only thing with the light shades, like the right on the right side of the palette, the first 4. Now I do think it's a good palette. I feel like the formula is good. If you buy it, I don't think you'll be disappointed in it, especially if you like the mauve tones, if you love cool tones. That's what you're gonna get with this palette. But I'm gonna go into the other ones that I feel are very similar. You guys also asked me about them, like, hey, do you think it compares to the Naked Cherry palette? Do you think it compares to the Huda Beauty palette? So that's what I'm gonna go over right now and show you the comparison between them. So I'm gonna start off with the Naked Cherry palette. I am wearing the Naked Cherry palette today, and I just did a very light look with it, and I feel like if you already have this, you don't need the Kat Von D. The shades are not exactly the same. I do say that I feel like it's comparable because a lot of the shades in here do compare to it, but they're not exact. This one doesn't have like that dark deep purple shade, which honestly it's not my favorite shade from the other palette anyways, but this one you get the option of getting the shimmers in there, and you can create more looks with it. So it is more, but it does give you more options to play with. I not only feel like the Naked Cherry palette is better, I just feel like the formula is good. It blends out really easily. It doesn't give me those issues with blending out the darker shades. I can easily blend those out whether I set my primer or I don't set it. No matter what I do, I am able to use the Naked Cherry palette easily. Moving on to the other palette that you guys asked me about is the Huda Beauty Nudes. And I can also see why you would think there might be some similar shades in here. And there might, like they are similar. But these on the Lolita palette, they're way darker. Like whenever you use them on the eyes, they are way darker. So I feel like if you have this one but you want the Lolita, you're not going to mix and match. Like you're not going to crash shades. Does that make any sense? Like you're not going to get repeat shades. So yeah, you can create some of the similar looks like with the lighter tones in here, but not really. These are like really cool toned. As far as the formula though, the Nudes is pretty much the same. Like they are all creamy formulas from this one and the Naked Cherry palette. I'm gonna get to two other ones that are not like the best formula, but I still like them. And then moving on to the Dose of Colors little palettes, I did grab the Marvelous Mauves and also the Blushing Berries. These are the ones that you guys asked me if they were similar, and I feel like the Marvelous Mauves is really similar to that Kat Von D. I don't feel like the formula is, but on the swatches the formulas look great. It's just that on the eyes the Kat Von D one is a little bit more creamier, but they are very similar. Not exactly the same. You don't get the amount of shades either because this one has 8, these have 5. You don't need the Kat Von D one if you already have this one, and if you have this one plus the Blushing Berries, you for sure don't need to get the Kat Von D. Like between these two, you will get the Kat Von D palette. Right there, I did swatch them next to each other because there weren't like a lot of shades. So I was able to swatch them all together on my arm and you can see the similarities between them. So for sure, I feel like if you have these two, for sure, you don't need the Kat Von D one. You have the Kat Von D one if you combine these two palettes. It's very similar to the Mauves one. And then if you want the darker tones from the Kat Von D, you can go into the Blushing Berries. If I would have tried it, like if I would have seen a video like mine and I've seen the comparison between them and I was figuring out whether I wanted to buy it or not, I wouldn't buy it. Not that it's not good, like I said, it's just that comparing it to all the other palettes that I showed you, I don't feel like it would be worth me having. So I think I mentioned everything I wanted to say in today's video. I know it was a lot of details, and I did want to say thank you for pointing out the other palettes that I already had in my collection, so that way it can make the review even better, even more detailed, and even more helpful for you and other people that may be wondering the same thing. So thank you for that, and that is pretty much it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye.